We're not live yet, though, right?
Oh, we're live.
Oh, fuck. What's up, guys?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of Anime on the Clock. The night is young. Everyone is ready for some good old-fashioned live anime podcasting. My name is Kevo, and my co-host Akira has just come back from a long stay in the hospital.
Yeah, I hope you guys missed me, because I fucking didn't miss any of you fuckers.
All right. Well, I guess without further ado, let's clock in.
So, speaking of the hospital, breaking news. Yamakan was actually found dead near his Tokyo apartment early this morning. And, it's a shame, really. They said that the last thing they saw him was he was dancing around after getting a little too drunk, and now this morning he's dead. Which is, too bad, because in my opinion, he's one of those guys who's really changed the anime industry for the better.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Absolutely. Yamakan is a director that's basically right up there with Hayao Miyazaki or, Makoto Shinkai or Go Nagai. These great names in anime history. I'm having trouble kind of keeping my emotions in check ever since I heard the news earlier today.
Yeah.
I mean, just Fractal, that anime not only changed what anime kind of is, but it changed all our lives, and it touched us deeply.
It truly showed us what a world without conflict, without problems,
Right.
He just had such a utopian vision.
Right.
For anime that no one else really had. No one else believed in anime as a force for social change, and I think that's really why he's so special.
Yeah, and the thing with the moment I saw Fractal, I knew it was like Noitamina is a great idea, and that really just set the bar that lesser shows like Steins Gate or and Sakamichi no Pala just really didn't even have a chance. It just shone so brightly.
But I think it's really indicative of the kind of man that he is, that he went out dancing. Because if you remember correctly, one of the most beautiful things about Yamakan anime were the dances.
Right.
And no one else has that sense of choreography that he does.
Right,
No
right,
one.
right. I
No
mean,
one.
Lucky Star was a musical and dance just masterpiece. Like those I think Lucky Star, like we can say, is just like the best dancing anime ever, right? I mean,
I don't know. I think the dance in Haruhi has certainly has its merits. Its merits.
Right. And then recently, he'll always be known for his last project, which just finished a few days before his death, and that was Senyu from last season. That was the show that everyone was really talking about. That kind of stole the show last season.
It totally just blew every other show out of the water. It really made me sort of wonder why it wasn't on the Anime Power rankings more often, actually, since it was such an amazing show and everyone was talking about it. Why do you think that is? Do you think there's a general fear of admitting Yamakan's brilliance?
I think what it is, it's JC Staff and Kyoto Animation kind of buying out the liberal media that is the body of anime bloggers, because behind the scenes and when people were talking to me, they were saying how Senyu was just a masterpiece, but there was so much pressure to kind of blackball it, for your typical choices of JoJo's or Girls with the Pounds, but really. Right. In our hearts and in our minds, we know that Senyu was by far the best show last season.
I mean, I've always said that Senyu was the best show,
right?
Except you couldn't really hear me in the last month because I was, almost dead.
And who do you think caused that? JC Staff.
God, don't turn JC Staff on me, because I love JC Staff. As weird as that sounds, maybe that's the Stockholm syndrome speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously, I think that Yamakan is going to have a very complex legacy. In fact,
right.
I don't think it's going to be as simple as we all acknowledge him as a genius that he is now that he's gone. I don't think this is not a Steve Jobs situation.
Right. Right. I mean, I definitely think Kyoto Animation is going to blackball him. Definitely he was always known as the rebel in the anime industry. He was always so original and so creative, and that definitely ruffles some feathers with the bigwigs over at KyoAni.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about this later too. But the last project that he was working on, the police found them in his apartment, is Kannagi season 2 actually,
Right, right.
and
And
that was about to get greenlit, and now maybe we'll never see it.
we probably won't. It'll be like Gunvaro. It'll be like one of those anime that are just lost in time, you know?
But do you think Yamakan will be lost in time? Do you think
Well,
we'll forget about him in a few years?
well, his body may be 6 feet underground, but his shows are always on our external hard drives, and his memories will always be in our hearts.
True. True. Couldn't have said it better. Kevo and I are actually both devastated right now by the loss of this great man. Keep
I'm
in mind, today it's a big day. This is the day that people are going to remember.
Today it's a very emotional time for me right now. So I'm barely hanging in there. So let's go ahead and move on to a special announcement. Some good news that we do have.
Some good news. Um, so sorry, I'm still reeling from the shock a little, but this is really good news that Strike Witches is going to have a season 3.
And what's this season
Unfortunate.
going to be about?
It's going to be about the Africa Corps. So actually, none of the characters are returning, except for Hana, who you see right there, who's amazing. But it's going to be really exciting because it's going to focus on new character dynamics. We're going to have an all-new story. There's going to be a lot more Italians involved, a lot less Americans.
Thank God,
Uh,
because the one thing I hated about Strike Witches was the cast. I mean, all
really?
the girls were just, I'm glad that they're moving on and introducing the Africa Corps because everyone in the Africa Corps is just better, you know?
Yeah, totally. And the thing is about the 501 is they're so overdone by this point. Like, we already know everything that we need to know about the 501 since we've seen them so often, but we don't know anything about these new characters. And actually, this is a great idea. Like, because we could have just had the same story over and over again. And yeah, Strike Witches season 2 is better than Strike Witches season 1, but at the same time, like, I feel like that story was done by the time that we finished it.
Right, right. Because with Strike Witches, to me, the biggest strength that Strike Witches have was its story. It was so cerebral. It's definitely one of those plot-driven anime. So
Yeah.
if with introducing new characters and introducing a whole new plot, that kind of breathes fresh air into the franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I heard the Africa Corps has a very different policy on wearing pants than the 501 does. So I'm also excited to see what direction they take that in, especially since there's this huge rivalry between Vivid Red and Girls in Panzer, and it's really great to see Strike Witches just like stepping up its game and coming back and like asserting who's boss in this whole.
Well, I
like,
think because of the amount of sand in like North Africa, I think that pants you would have to wear pants. So because of the sand and what it does to your skin. So I think in Strike Witches 3, we're definitely gonna have something very very unique, and that's the Strike Witches wearing pants.
not just pants, like full on like combat suit pants.
Oh, that'd be
things.
great.
I mean, that's gonna be awesome because that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And hopefully in Strike Witches 4, it'll take place in the Middle East. And
Let's
they're wearing
not wait.
burqas.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Remember how long it took to get Strike Witches 2 greenlit?
All
Let's
right.
let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Anyways, moving on. So if you guys remember my last show about a month ago, I talked about how IMAS was a global media franchise worth a couple $100 million. And so, in fact, to capitalize on this media franchise, the guys at Bandai Namco have decided to reach across the aisle and start appealing more broadly to females.
I think this is a great idea. I really, really love Jupiter. They really kind of made the show, And I definitely think that just by putting some dudes in anime, that the female population would just immediately gravitate towards Idolmaster, because
Yeah, and
right.
like the thing is, like, it's not even as if there's no tradition of men in like the idol industry. This is not like an otaku situation where like women are just getting into that scene. Like, no, there've been boy bands around forever. Like, arguably, boy bands came first,
Right.
right? So like, it's really cool to see these guys really capitalizing on this market and selling more goods to more people, and maybe this way, we'll have even more people on the Idolmaster bandwagon.
Exactly, exactly. And I think they can go a lot of ways with it, It can kind of be based off, like One Direction or just all these popular bands that are out there right now. I think it's just a really great idea with all these
But you think,
females.
but, one of the funny things about Idolmaster is that they don't like to base themselves on real bands. And I think that's really cool because, like, if you look at One Direction, or if you look at, if you go older, like NSYNC or like Backstreet Boys or like any of these guys, like, they're all very, very similar
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And even Jupiter was a little similar, but you can tell that, they were still in the planning stage of the idea when they came up with Jupiter. So I'm really excited to see what kind of fresh male idols they're going to come up with. Maybe there's going to be a poor guy. Maybe there's going to be, a rich guy.
A
I don't
tsundere
know.
guy.
Can men even beat tsundere?
You know what? Show us A1 Pictures. Show us.
Yeah, show us. Bandai Namco, show us.
Yeah.
We're definitely waiting for it.
I mean, these guys invented Pac-Man. Pretty sure that they can invent a tsundere idol.
Yeah, I agree. Anyways, we're looking very much, forward to 801 Pro and what they do.
Oh, so looking forward to it. All right, our next segment is Win Pass Fail, and we'll have a minute for each topic. We've been through this all before. So, Akira, why don't you start off with our first topic? Gonzo has announced its return to the anime industry.
Yeah, so Gonzo's been through quite a bit of problems, and they've sort of scaled down, and they've been sort of, restructuring a little. There's been a problem is that they can't seem to get enough funding, or the shows that they make aren't popular enough.
Sure.
But we all know that Gonzo's made a bunch of really great shows in the past. Shows like Rosario and Vampire, Rosario and Vampire 2, Kurogane no Line Barrels, Tower of Braga,
Aegis of Aruk, and Shield of Aruk.
And like Afro Samurai, like who could forget, right?
Right.
So it's really great that these guys are coming back. And in fact, I have this feeling that when they announced Strike Witcher Season 3, they didn't say who was going to do it. So I have a big feeling it's going to go back to Gonzo.
Right, and I definitely think just from an economic point of view and an industry point of view, it was really neat for Gonzo to kind of like fire all of its native artists and writers, and instead,
hire the Koreans and Vietnamese.
Outsource it to North Korea
model.
and Vietnam.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a great business model, and I think it's going to catch on. So I give this a win.
Right.
Good for you. So good for you.
All right. Well, I guess moving on, we have our first instance now of a woman marrying a dakimakura in Japan. This is going to get a win for me because I've always been a champion of marriage rights, men marrying men, women marrying women, men marrying 3D objects, and now the barrier has finally been crossed with women marrying 3D objects. Well, what do you think about this, Akira?
Oh man, I'm always marriage equality has been on my mind recently because of all the things what's going on. I'm from California, so there's a lot of that there as well. I think this is great. This is just great because
I mean, look at this picture. Look, all you see is just great things.
Right, but there's a big problem is there's only men. And we don't like that. We want
if you look really closely in the background, maybe it's just a very bad-looking woman.
I don't think so. But but I think that this is definitely a win because this is moving us towards a more and more progressive society.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree. It's a win for me too.
Moving on, Kannagi announced another hiatus because the author was found to not be a virgin. This is a fail for me. One, because I love Kannagi, and two, because they're just taking this virgin thing way too far at this point.
Right, and I think I have a question for you, Akira. How much of this do you think is influenced by the passing of the great Yamakan?
Oh man, see, I don't want it because like last time, remember when everyone said like virgins, and it turned out the author's just really sick. I don't really want to speculate on this again because like now that Yamakan, has unfortunately moved on to a higher plane of existence, we really shouldn't tarnish his memory by speculating on whether or not his death had something to do with the Kannagi author's supposed infidelity and looseness in morals. Because we know that's true, but we don't know if Yamakan had something to do with it. But either way, I think this is a fail. Japan, mind your own fucking business. Exactly. Don't go out there and harass authors for doing, what they perfectly have a right to do.
Exactly.
So go fuck yourselves, Otaku. Go fuck yourselves.
Fail for me as well. And finally, to top it off, a Madoka spinoff has been announced that takes place in the point of view of Kyubey. Why don't you explain this to us a little bit, Akira?
Yeah, so so here you see some promotional materials for it. Here it says, "Let's talk about contract law."
Right.
As you know, Kyubey is very fond of making contracts. He is a big guy. He's all about contracts. And one of the things that the girls really had a problem with, this is kind of a sequel, so it happens after Madoka. They were very sort of miffed at how he failed to explain the terms of his contract, his agreement, like
Right, right.
in legally clear terms. So Kyubey decides to go back to law school,
Yeah.
which he flunked out of before he arrived on Earth. So he is going to sort of, it's a Gakuen like love comedy, that happens in law school, and
Right.
he's trying to brush up his contract law so he doesn't run into this problem next time.
Right, and absolutely, and I even watching Madoka itself, I was just thinking, he's like, man, these girls can just take Kyubey to court because Kyubey made a verbal contract for something that is worth more than $15,000, and he included loopholes and like just those concepts that your soul belongs to him without actually disclosing any of that. I mean, that's
it was dangerous. It was a reckless legal behavior. So
Exactly,
I think that it's great that the creators thought hey, this is something that we should address.
Right.
I'm glad they're filling in the plot holes.
Right, and also making contracts with minors. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess moving on now that we can on to our next topic, we can finally have the debate of what slice of life actually is, because everyone talks about this, Akira, and no one ever gives me a straight answer.
No. Here's the thing: is that I'm really tired of every couple months on Twitter, people have a slice of life debate about.
And they're all wrong.
Well, first of all, they're all wrong. But secondly, as we said last time, the term is not slice of life, but yuruhua, as we all know. But more importantly, right, it's really just so nebulous because, there's so many people who are so focused on this idea of plot. And they're all like, oh, plot this, plot that. K-On! Doesn't have a plot. But then someone, like, inevitably says, like, oh, like, 5 girls eating cake is plot. And it's just a mess. It's a huge mess.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a huge mess.
And slice of life kind of just starts becoming a buzzword of like, the plot there's no plot, slice of life, And it's just like, it's so wrong. It's so not what slice of life is all about.
Yeah, slice of life is really just, what I think it is? I think slice of life is a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a state of mind.
It's a way of being. It's kind of like a lifestyle choice. You know what I mean?
It's a lifestyle choice, and I think it's also a term that I think it mostly describes things that you don't like.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Continue. I want to hear this.
Okay, well, I mean, if you think about it, like, people who talk about slice of life shows generally speak about it disparagingly. People who talk about the same shows but in a positive light tend to not talk about slice of life but rather emphasize how much plot these shows have.
Okay. Well, slice of life is my favorite genre, so does that mean I just have bad taste?
No, but you're not talking about slice of life. You don't call it slice of life, right?
I actually do.
No, you don't.
Yes.
Everyone else calls it slice of life, but you like the genre, but the term itself is dirty. We have to get rid of it. It's like the word slut. We have to get rid of the word slice of life.
So what do you propose that we replace it with?
Well, the Japanese have come up with a perfectly usable term, yurifua, right?
Right.
Yurifua, okay?
It also improves your weeaboo levels by dropping
right,
that
exactly.
term.
So why would you use a term like slice of life when you can say yurifua? Especially when slice of life as a term is just so problematic.
I always, when I get into those arguments on Twitter, instead of calling it stories without plot, I always call them in media res storytelling. Just because when you speak Latin, other people just like, whoa, man, whoa, oh, you win.
Right. But at the same time, I don't know. It just seems to me that it's a dirty word, and we need to get rid of it. I'm boycotting that term from now, and I think you should all boycott it with me.
Everyone should boycott everything.
Speaking of boycotts,
there you go.
Yeah, so this is actually something that we've talked about quite often. Should feminists boycott anime?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
I think that the more militant of a feminist you are, the more you're able to be offended by anime. And I think this, if anime as an art form and as a medium truly offends you, you should never watch anime ever again.
Yeah, I think that there's something very hypocritical about engaging in discourse while at the same time perpetuating these stereotypes which you claim to be actively and militantly resisting.
Right. So get off Twitter, stop blogging, stop watching anime. Just it's all oppression.
But this is not an ultimatum from us to you, right? Because if I shared your views, this is exactly what I would do.
Absolutely.
You know, to be honest, like I'm sick and tired of seeing young girls being exploited and you know, treated as objects.
Exactly.
And I refuse to buy into a culture which condones this sort of behavior. If I shared those views, if I had those views,
right.
you know,
for
like,
example, I'm very against grown men in anime, and any anime involving grown males, typically in the action genre, I am deeply offended by, and I never watch.
yeah, because all it just essentializes these men and says to them, "Oh, like these are the things that you have to do as a grown man," and like I'm just not. I fuck that. Like,
I mean, seriously, check your privilege. Like, just because I'm a dude, I don't have to pull out a gun and drive a giant robot. That's very offensive to me. I much prefer my little girl shows.
yeah, I mean, me too. And like honestly, the other thing is, it's just so. I don't know. You know, guys, this is late night television we're talking about.
Exactly.
This is late night television. You know, this is not high art. There's no reason to treat it as such. And like, you know, if you boycott it, I think it'll be better for all of us.
Right, right, and let's be honest here. Because of the airing time and because of anime in general, 99% of the populace boycott anime just subconsciously. But
Yep.
exactly, and I think that if anime truly upsets you, I just don't think anime is for you.
And the other thing is, if you refuse to consume these kinds of offensive and problematic media, you are the arbiters of change. You are Rosa Parks sitting in the white man's seat.
Exactly. Or Rosa Parks not downloading things off Tokyo Toshokan. Or Rosa Parks closing her WordPress blog.
Right, I absolutely agree, and I think that the issue is that, you know, right now we don't have a Rosa Parks figure. We don't have anyone who's saying, hey, guys, we really need to stop giving these companies money because we don't like what they're doing. No one is trying to say this right now. No one is saying this. And until we do something about it, you know, there's no way that anything is ever going to change. We have to vote with our wallets, guys. This is the age of capitalism.
I have a Yume.
You do?
I have all the Yumes.
I have more Yume than you do. Anyways, going on.
So, with only a minute left, let's just go through our final few topics. First of all, we have a lot of prohibited substances
being consumed at Sakura-Con, and this is an eyewitness's sketch of what he saw at Sakura-Con. As you can see,
that's incredible investigative journalism.
Yeah, there's a lot of marijuana being passed around. There's you know they're just rolling joints in a restaurant.
Rolling joints, listening to Level Upper.
This is what happens when the state of Washington legalizes marijuana. Seriously,
sounds just about right.
Anyways, next,
Precure wins.
Carhatch Precure has won the Order of Culture from the Japanese government, which is one of the highest awards that can ever be given to a civilian. And just to make this clear, this is the show, not the people who make it. Like the characters themselves, will be presented with their awards in a ceremony in the Imperial Palace on November 3rd.
Well, of course, absolutely. And plus, you know, just keep in mind that these girls go in and they save lives. Every week they go out there and save the world from ramen monsters and flower monsters. This is a truly
this is good. This is good that they're getting it. And anyways.
So Kugamiya Rie is scheduled to undergo a controversial procedure to make her voice lower pitched. She, you know, just so she can start voicing characters.
And she's branching out a little because, you know, quote her, she said, why are you, you know, she said they told her you're going under a lot of risk for doing this because you'll be you know, there's a chance that you'll go mute, that you'll never speak again. And she said, you know, fuck that. Like, I am done with being tsundere. I am tired of being successful, she said. Give me a challenge.
A great day. A great day in anime history.
A good day. Good day.
And that's all the topics we have for you today. I hope everyone had a great time and everyone walks away from this podcast a little bit more informed than they were before.
Yeah. We're declaring a 6-day period of mourning for Yamakon, so you won't hear from us until next Monday at about 9 p.m.
Oh, okay. Well, until then,
have
a nice week.
Take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves, and make sure to help each other in this time of need for all of us. Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone. See you on the flip side.